somebody dreamed this up and just went charging down the road and spending all this money.
We've got millions of dollars that potentially wasted.
Good use of taxpayers' money?
Definitely not.
Hello and welcome to our interactive television workshop here on the Enhanced Learning and Knowledge Network.
Welcome to ELKNET, an educational television network broadcasting nationwide from studios in Albuquerque. But don't look for this TV network in the newspaper listings. You won't find it on cable or satellite either. It has no schedule, no revenue, and practically no viewers.
Good morning, students, teachers, principals, and all others that are hearing this broadcast.
ELKNET is not a media empire run by some corporate bigwig, and this is not a story about the TV business. You see, ELKNET is a government boondoggle where federal bureaucrats squandered millions through waste and mismanagement. The government used tax dollars to buy equipment, build studios, and install a network of satellite receivers. Then they stuck taxpayers with the estimated $10 million tab. ELKNET is run by the Department of Interior. Its purpose is to offer long-distance learning to students and staff at Bureau of Indian Affairs schools. By using the latest in digital satellite technology, the Department of Interior wanted to bring high-tech interactive learning to some of the most remote schools in America, places like Borrego Pass, here on the Navajo Reservation in western New Mexico. It's places like Deba Yaje Habitin Olta, or Borrego Pass, and Sei-Aha, called Standing Rock. There are 47 BIA schools on the ELKNET network in New Mexico. In creating ELKNET, the Department of Interior spared no expense. The government said its multi-million-dollar broadcast facility, quote, rivals any commercial TV network. There's robotic HD cameras, a control room, production studio, and edit suites. Programming is transmitted via $650,000 satellite uplink. Interior spent another $2.4 million to install satellite receivers, 42-inch LCD monitors, and DVD recorders at 200 BIA schools across Indian country. It costs the government an additional $500,000 a year in satellite transponder fees. ELKNET's annual payroll exceeded $1 million. The BIA TV network premiered in 2009. Less than 2 years later, the satellite would be turned off, the staff dismissed, and the government's experiment in educational TV shut down. Interior had everything they needed for long-distance interactive learning, everything except participants. We paid a visit to the Alamo Navajo School north of Magdalena. Dr. Tamaya Pfeiffer is school superintendent. When was the last time you got instruction on how to use this equipment?
We've never had instructions on how to use the equipment. In the 3 years, it's just been equipment standing in a room.
Charlotte Begay was principal at Wingate Elementary outside Gallup.
Wingate, to be honest, there was no long distance educational yet. We were just barely getting into that when it was shut down.
Rebecca Vesley heads up the BIA's Borrego Pass School. What was the equipment used for mostly in terms of the kids?
CNN, watching news, current events.
In September '09, when ELKNET beamed President Obama's back-to-school message throughout Indian country, no one in New Mexico watched the broadcast. It was the same story in March 2010 for the Why They Should Graduate program. In September 2010, not a single one of the 47 BIA schools in New Mexico listened to the youth listening session. Golfer Noda Begay's April 2011 discourse on healthy lifestyles was ELKNET's swan song. After 21 months of operation, Interior pulled the plug on its multi-million-dollar TV network. The announcement was by email. Quote, the government no longer has a need for the satellite and will no longer have the funds for the system. Just like that, the government program was kaput. Among the federal employees who lost their jobs was distance learning coordinator Morris Gator.
I felt like it just wasn't being utilized the way it should. And it lingered on and died a slow death.
How did it happen? And how much will ELKNET ultimately cost taxpayers? And who accepts responsibility for all the waste and mismanagement? That's something the Department of Interior won't discuss. In fact, it was only after we pledged to take the matter up with then Secretary of Interior Ken Salazar that the department trotted out a spokesman. We interviewed Bureau of Indian Affairs Director Mike Black by satellite. Was the program a success, your perspective?
My perspective would be yes, the program was a success.
If the program was so successful, why'd you shut it down?
It was basically, it comes down to a budget and resource issue.
The Interior Department spends millions of dollars for distance learning and training, and virtually nobody participates. Is that a good record?
You know, it wouldn't be a good record, not necessarily.
You did not know that a number of these programs, there was zero participation. You didn't know that?
I wasn't aware of that, no, sir.
Does that surprise you?
It does to a degree, yes.
To a degree?
I mean, not knowing the full facts and everything that's there, yes, it would surprise me, yeah.
Aren't you the director of the Bureau of Indian Affairs?
Yes, I am.
Isn't it your job to know the facts?
It is.
This is your data. I'm not making this up. This is what you gave me. So you didn't know that?
I didn't know that, sir. Nobody's made me aware of that, no.
Senator, is this the way government is supposed to work?
No, this isn't the way government is supposed to work at all.
Senator Tom Udall serves on the Senate Indian Affairs Committee.
Somebody got a great idea. They said, let's take a couple of $1 million and spend it on all this equipment and get everybody interlinked. But then nobody wanted to come and look at it. And that's not a very good use of taxpayer money.
Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham serves on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee.
I hear about great ideas all day long, and they're all wonderful, but not all of them are cost effective, and not all of them can be implemented. The lesson of the Department of Interior is they have to be better prepared to manage these ideas.
Today, ELKNET's Albuquerque studios are quiet. The equipment is still here, but there's nobody left to operate it. At Standing Rock, the satellite equipment is used to play DVDs. At Borrego Pass, the gear is stored in a closet. And in Alamo, the LCD monitor acts as an expensive message board.
The Bureau of Indian Affairs helps support us, and so we knew that this was their equipment, and it is still their equipment. We're just borrowing it at this time and hoping that somehow it's going to be connected in.
In this case, significant amount of money that could have helped very needy individuals has been wasted. And that's what's very unfortunate here.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
Interior really does not want to talk about this. In fact, they refuse to disclose the total amount of money that they spent on this TV flop.